The moment the front door clicked shut, a familiar sense of dread washed over me. It was a feeling I'd grown accustomed to over the past 6 months, a cold, heavy knot in the pit of my stomach. Sarah, my wife of 7 years, was supposedly out with her friends for a girls' night. But I knew better. The scent of her expensive perfume, the one she only wore on special occasions, still lingered in the air, a stark contrast to the comfortable, everyday life we were supposed to be living. I walked over to the living room window and peered out into the darkness. A few minutes later, a sleek black sedan I didn't recognize pulled up to the curb. Sarah, looking radiant in a dress I hadn't seen before, slipped into the passenger seat. The car sped off, and I was left alone with the deafening silence of our home and the even louder roar of my own thoughts. She thought I was oblivious. She thought I was the same trusting, slightly naive man she married. And for a while I let her believe it. I played the part of the devoted husband, asking about her day, warming up her dinner when she came home late, pretending not to notice the growing distance between us, the secret smiles at her phone, the overtime that never seemed to show up on her pay stubs. But the truth is, I knew. I had known for a long time. It started subtly. A friend mentioned seeing her at a fancy downtown restaurant with a man who wasn't me. I brushed it off at first, thinking it was a misunderstanding. But then the signs became impossible to ignore. The password on her phone changed. The late-night texts she would quickly hide if I walked into the room. The receipts for hotel rooms found in the pocket of a coat she thought I'd never wear. Instead of confronting her, I did something else. I started planning. My initial reaction was a storm of anger and betrayal. I wanted to scream, to break things, to demand answers. But as the days turned into weeks, a strange calmness settled over me. I realized that the woman I loved, or at least the woman I thought I loved, was gone. In her place was a stranger, and I owed that stranger nothing. So I started gathering evidence, not out of spite, but out of self-preservation. I documented everything. Copies of bank statements showing extravagant purchases I knew nothing about. Screenshots of hotel bookings made on our shared tablet. A friend, a private investigator, helped me get irrefutable proof. A collection of photos and timelines that painted a clear, heartbreaking picture. It was all there, a detailed log of her betrayal. While she was busy living her double life, I was quietly dismantling ours. I consulted a lawyer who advised me on the best way to protect my assets. Our finances were surprisingly entangled, but I meticulously began to separate them. I opened a new bank account. I transferred my own savings. I made sure every asset that was rightfully mine before our marriage was legally secured. I wasn't being vengeful. I was being smart. The love and trust were gone, and all that was left was the cold, hard reality of a partnership that needed to be dissolved. I felt like a spy in my own home, a silent actor in a play where only I knew the final act. I watched her lie to my face, a gentle smile playing on her lips, and I would just nod, my heart a block of ice. The pain was still there, buried deep, but it was overshadowed by a grim determination. I was no longer a victim in this story. I was taking back control. The hardest part was pretending to be happy on our anniversary, even as I knew she had spent the afternoon with him, pretending to be excited about future plans we both knew would never happen. Every shared meal, every conversation felt like a performance. She was acting the part of the faithful wife, and I was acting the part of the clueless husband. We were two actors on a stage, but only one of us knew the curtains were about to fall. Tonight was her birthday. I had cooked her favorite meal, bought a thoughtful gift, and even lit candles. She walked in just after 11, flushed and happy, smelling faintly of a man's cologne that she tried to cover with a spritz of her own perfume. She gushed about how much fun she had with her friends, how much she missed me. "Happy birthday, my love," I said, my voice steady. I handed her the gift, a small, beautifully wrapped box. She opened it eagerly. Inside wasn't the jewelry she was probably expecting. It was a key. A simple, single key. She looked at me, confused. "What's this for?" "It's for your new apartment," I said calmly. On the dining table next to her plate, I laid out a single manila folder. "I think you'll find everything in order." Her smile vanished. Her face went pale as she opened the folder. Inside were copies. Copies of the photos, the bank statements, the hotel receipts, and on top of it all, the divorce papers, already signed by me. She looked up, her eyes wide with shock and disbelief. All the color drained from her face. How did you know?" she stammered, her voice barely a whisper. I looked at her, not with anger, but with a strange sense of pity. For months, she thought she was in control, that she was the one pulling the strings. She had no idea she was just dancing in a play that I had directed. "Sarah," I said, my voice soft but firm, "you thought I'd never find out. But the truth is, I've known everything for a very long time." The silence that followed was heavier than any words we could have spoken. In that moment, she finally understood. She hadn't been fooling me. She had only been fooling herself. Her secret world had just come crashing down, and I was the one who had quietly laid the demolition charges, waiting for the right moment to press the button. It wasn't a victory. There are no winners in a situation like this. But it was an ending. My ending. And a new beginning for me, free from the weight of her secrets. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. It means a lot. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content. We'll see you in the next one.